Hey again. Happy Fridays with Fidelman. Happy Friday. I'm Cheryl Fidelman, performance artist and life coach. And I focus my coaching on trauma healing because I think that healing trauma is the most important piece to accessing who we are truly designed to be. And I just finished the last interview in my new summit. It's about trauma. It's called Trust Yourself Again, Heal Your Trauma, and Be the Real You in Sex, Family, and Money. And just finished the last interview. The link to sign up for the summit is in the notes below this video. And it's kind of the sequel to my first summit from earlier this year, which was the Trust Yourself Summit, and it was on codependence. Because in my work, I believe that codependence is the biggest demonstration of unhealed trauma in human relating. So let's get to the topic for today. So the topic of today's Fridays with Fidelman is life is generic. Now, not all of life is generic. We all have experiences that are unique to us, and a good percentage of life is generic. And I hope that this idea, although, I'm probably not inventing the wheel with this idea, but I hope that this idea helps because it has really helped me a lot in my healing. When I came up with, wanting to share this as a result of some responses that I got from my Fridays with Fidelman from last week, which I had shared about a depressive episode that I had. And I got so many responses from people who said, I've experienced either that exact same thing, the way you described it, or something really close to it. I've experienced it many, many times. I just haven't put it into words, or it's impacted my life dramatically. And so what came to mind is like, yeah, so much of life is generic. So much of life is just a product of being part of the human species. So much of life is just an epidemic of what it is to be human. Like, it's human epidemics all over the place. When it comes to grief and death and heartbreak and finances and anxiety, feeling safe, trust, how to make decisions in life, isolation. I guess I can go on and on and on. Trying to figure out your path in life. There's so many things that we all deal with and are trying to manage. And the reason why I think that categorizing it as generic is helpful is because I want to diminish the amount that we identify with this stuff. One of the things that helped me through my depressive episode last week was, this is not me. Okay, this is something that's moving through me. If I hold on to it and identify with it, which is what I've done in the past, which is what I explained, similar to what I explained last week, so I don't want to do like a whole repeat, but the identifying with it, which is like, I am depressed, and all the thoughts that go with the feeling, I'm not worthy, I'm lost, I'm alone, it's pointless. And so having a cognitive reaction to this somatic experience is also a way of identifying with the experience. Like, this is me, I am Cheryl, I am worthless. Or this is me, I am Cheryl, I can't get my money together. Or this is me, I am Cheryl, my dad died and I'm grieving, and the grieving's going to take me out of my life, and why me, and poor me, and all the things that I attach to and label with these experiences, and think potentially how significant it is, And also, I want to point to isolation with this because I have been a huge isolationist. And so the more I isolated, the more I identified with my experiences, and the more I saw my experiences as something to separate me. Which part of that is shame. Part of that is thinking like nobody else is going through this thing. Part of that is really like comes with significance, even though it seems like if I feel unworthy and I feel like shit about myself, it may seem like I feel insignificant. But I think part of thinking that I'm the only one experiencing this means that I must be significant in some way, that I'm the only one this is happening to. And actually, what has helped me heal and get through a lot of things is really to connect with and identify with my commonness. That's been a huge eye-opener for me. How common I am. And also that's an access to connection. Because most experiences are not common, and most experiences we can share with other people, and most people will go, oh yeah, I've had some form of that too. Because it's a common human experience. And I think there's very, very, very few things that distinguish us. And if we can identify and focus on that which distinguishes us, identify with those few things that distinguish us, and then use all of the other stuff that is so common as currency for connection rather than currency for separation, currency for identification with oneself. We use all that other stuff as currency for connection. And I think trauma healing is really an access to really identify with that which is unique and distinguishing about us so that we can fully become who we are designed to be while simultaneously being so deeply connected with other people because of our commonality. And I've had so many experiences where people's uniqueness or what is distinguishing about them is spoken about when they're dead. In my first one-woman show, I talk a lot about my dad who passed 16 years ago. And I noticed that when he died, he became a bunch of hads, woulds, and wasses. He was this, he was that, he would do this, he was. And it's like when people die, they become a bunch of hads, woulds, and wasses. They're like immediately past tense. And oftentimes when people die, people go, I never met a person like him or her or they. Just never met a person like them. And then they'll talk about what attracted them or what stood out in their friendship that person provided that was unique that nobody else provided, which is why they connected with that person. And so if during the living we can notice that which is unique about us that people will point out when we're dead, that's one way of making my point, I guess. Owning our uniqueness, which is also like a generic term. We've heard that so many times, own your uniqueness. And I think an access to owning your uniqueness is owning how common you are. There aren't too many people who are reinventing the wheel when it comes to how to be human. We're all doing it in a very similar way. We are all tested to overcome. And that's why I focus on trauma. Trauma are the things that we are provided in order to live a life of overcoming. almost like that could be one of the reasons that we were given life, to have something or things to overcome, and then to meet who we are on the other side of overcoming. Like, we need something to push through, something to grapple with, something to learn from, something to juxtapose, like, oh, that's who I was then, and then I went through X, Y, Z, and this is who I am now, and this is what I can be a teacher of, and this is what I can hold wisdom of, because I went through X, Y, and Z. Or we can choose to identify, instead of overcoming, being stuck in the identification of the trauma or the issue, and then living as the trauma or issue because it's what our identification sits in, rather than, oh, this is a phenomenon of being human that I, as an individual, a unique individual, am going to cycle through and work through. And in the cycling through and working through, we must continue to look at every angle of ourselves. We have to. It's like we have to keep expanding the hall of mirrors that is us. Because we have so many blind spots. We have to continue to unlock our blind spots and see ourselves from as many different angles as we possibly can. And that goes back to one thing that I say very often, which a lot of people say, which is the number one most important relationship is the relationship that you have with yourself. And as I'm saying this, I'm thinking, well, where does self-acceptance come in? Because first of all, we're always overcoming, right? Overcome one thing, and then there's the next thing to overcome. It's really a journey of overcoming and overcoming and overcoming. But where does self-acceptance come in if we're always overcoming and we're always moving and changing and morphing? How do I say I accept this if I'm a moving, healing ship? Self-acceptance is a present moment phenomenon. In this present moment, I accept what's happening. I accept how I'm behaving. I accept how I'm reacting. I accept the circumstances around me. I accept where I'm at in my life. I even accept the suffering. I even accept the shitty feelings. Acceptance was a huge part of my depressive episode that I spoke about last week. I accepted it. I was totally wiped out and taken out from that episode, and I accepted it. I didn't identify with it. I didn't think about it. I didn't judge it. I didn't say, this is me. This is how I roll. I'm depressive. I didn't think any of that. I just felt it and accepted it. I didn't fight it. And so that's another piece of self-acceptance is this is now. And this is the shape of now and all that it holds. And fighting it causes more suffering, and it causes more disconnection with yourself. The more you accept, the more you connect with yourself. And this may be an odd thing to say, and I'm sort of exploring it as I'm thinking it and as I'm saying it, which is potentially there is no moment. There is no one moment that is supposed to be another way, because it is the moment. It is it. What's happening is what's happening. Now we can shift it by making different choices and reacting differently, but actually the present moment, there's nothing else that could possibly be happening in that present moment. So that's just another sort of theory to go with, the theory of self-acceptance. You are who you're supposed to be, and the option to shift who you are and who you're going to become is so all up to you. It's so in your hands. Just to reiterate, I think the access to that is really getting firmly connected with how generic your experiences are and the ones that are unique, what you bring to the table that is unique. Because I bet that whatever is squashing your uniqueness is that which is generic and common to the human condition. All right. I might be repeating myself over and over again. So I think I'm done here. Thank you for watching. I had a lot of fun with this one. And again, the new summon is out. Trust yourself again. Heal your trauma and be the real you in sex, family, and money. The link to register for the summit is below in the YouTube description notes. And also, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Have an awesome weekend and happy healing. Okay, just had another thought. You know, and I might also call this video "You're Not Special," because if you're focused on what is special to you, then your life should be soaring. Because, like, you're not special because you're depressed. You're not special because you have anxiety. Like, for me, I wasn't special because I was always broke. I wasn't special because I was depressed. I wasn't special because I felt like shit about myself. I wasn't special because I was bullied as a kid and I had all of this trauma. And these are important things, but I wasn't special because of them. It's very common. And a lot of the things that I'm overcoming currently in my life and dealing with are very common things. I'm not really special because of them. I'm special, we're all special because of our unique little gifts that we bring to the table, our skill sets, our innate talents. That's what makes us special. So if you focus on really what makes you special, and heal all the things that are in the way of you expressing your specialness, then I think that you will have access to being the person that you were designed to be. Okay, guys, thanks again.